G'day. Today's brew is a simple pale ale. The first brew using the Viking Malt that I got from Home Make It. I was going to add some Munich and probably a little bit of Crystal, just a touch, but I thought why not just use it 100% of the Viking pale ale malt. Just a quick note, if you've got new malt, even if it's the same malt in a new bag, it's always worth chucking a few handfuls through your mill first, just to check that it's not a smaller grain than you used to, and you get a nice crush. Nothing worse than getting halfway through the brew and not getting conversion and realizing that you needed a better crush. Anyway, let's get into it. The recipe: 4.5 kilos of the Viking pale ale malt. I'm going to bitter to around 20 IBUs at 60 minutes, which will probably be about 12 or 13 grams of Magnum or Warrior. I will chuck in a little bit of Galaxy and Cascade at the end. It could end up a little bit bitter, but I'm after a bit of beer. I've been a bit slack with the bitterness in my beers lately, so I'm just going to push it a little bit. And I'm going to mash into 18 litres of water. If you have a motorised mill and want it advertised on the channel, let me know. Of nice whole but cracked grain kernels. 18 litres. There we are, we're in. I was going to use underletting today, but I just ran out of time to stuff around, so straight in today. But it's gone in nicely. I can't see any dough balls. Good to go. So that's 18 litres and 4.5 kilo only there. My normal brew is about 4.65 kilo, and 18 is good. I don't know how you go much thicker than that. When people do their smaller mash-ins than that, I just don't know how it copes, because that is about perfect. But anyway, we all do things different, don't we? Just back it off a little bit till we see how we're going. With the wet conditioning, I found I don't go full bore, but I go fairly quick. I'm going to mash this about 66, I think. I was going to go low and thin it right out, but I don't. I want to keep some of that malt flavour in there a bit more. So I'm going to mash about 66. I'll probably go, just to make sure, about 75 minutes. But see, by the time you do all this, and then you set your mash timer for 60 minutes, it's about 75 minutes anyway. So, I'll actually, even though I'm saying 75, I'll actually set the timer now for 60 minutes. And all should be good. You can put the top screen on if you want, of course. I just had a quick look at the temp, try not to record again, and we've come out perfect. I went in at 71. Spot on this time. It's good. We're just about to go into mash out. It's been mashing an hour. I'll give you a quick look at how it's cleared up and stuff. But if you have troubles with sparging taking too long, it's a good time to give it the grain a bit of a stir. I won't have troubles with sparging because I've conditioned the grain and I know it goes really fast to sparge. So yeah, don't stir, don't scrape right down to the bottom, but there's nothing wrong with giving it a stir. And by the time you do your 10-15 minute mash out, it'll all have settled down again and everything will be fine. But it'll just make sure that you haven't got a dust build up on top or anything that's going to try and slow down your sparge. And hopefully we don't get any steam up the lens. We probably will. Steamed up. I don't know if you can see that. It's nice and clear. So I'm just going to turn it up to 76 degrees or something, leave it for about 15 minutes. There's a bit of a ramp time there. Might be 5-6 minutes and then 10 minutes for mash out. Okay, time to sparge. Mash out's finished. I'll turn the pump off. And Beersmith is telling me around 17 litres, or 16 and a half or something like that. I'm just going to sparge. So I'm going for a 24 litre batch to fill my 23 litre cube without any troubles. So I'm going to fill up to about the 30 litre mark. If I was doing a 23 litre batch, I'd probably fill to just over the 29, somewhere between 29 and 30 litre mark, just to make sure. The grain absorption isn't always perfect. You don't exactly know what you're going to get. So I like just to keep an eye. You know, I know a rough estimate that it's 16 and a half litres. But I'll just keep an eye on to where it's filled to where I want it to. And then I'll stop the sparge and pull the basket off. I went a bit much. I went about a litre over again. She'll be right. I might be down a little bit in my numbers. It'll be fine. Now I'll turn it up to the boil down the bottom. I'll run the pump while it's coming up to the boil, and I like to filter anything out that might have got into the water just by using a strainer. So we're just coming up to the boil yet, we're still not quite there. About 94. I'll take a reading, try not to pick up any junk in it, just the wort. And I'll quickly cool my reading down. You'll get a much more accurate reading if you do this. Chill it fast. You don't get any evaporation, which can skew your numbers. And it's the right temp for your refractometer. And I was aiming for, I didn't bump up the efficiency. It's at 78, the normal Beersmith my profile is set at. And he was saying 37. And I'm on 39. Cool. Even though I oversparged a bit. That's really good. Happy with that. I'll give you a look. What does it taste like? Tastes good. Tasty. A lovely sweetness to it. As it should be at this stage. Firm cap will prevent a boil over, which I've already put in. I'm bittering with it's about 13 grams. It's a mix of Magnum and Warrior because that's all I had left. I'm going for about a 18-19 IBUs from the 60 minute. And I'm not going to use a bag today. No real reason. I'm just being lazy. do like to wash any of those hops that come up in that foam up off the sides and back into the wort, even though it's not much. Next addition, I'm going to boil this for 55 minutes, put a 5-minute addition of hops in, and then put it straight in the cube. It's just 5 minutes to go. I'm going to whack in 20 grams of Galaxy and 15 grams of Cascade. I probably should have done it the other way around. But anyway, just for the last 5 minutes, and I'm going to pump straight into the cube. I'll turn off the elements. I haven't used the pump to go into the cube before. This could end up very messy. Or it might go alright. We'll see, eh? Move this back a bit. Let's pump, eh? You should get some heat resistant gloves for this because things get hot. Yep, just going to pump straight in. I forgot my Wurf lock. Oh no! Start to slow the pump down a bit. Hot. Slow the pump down. There we go. That will do. Ow, hot. No, you gotta do them in the toilet.
I just do a tiny poo, that's all.
Alright. 45 I'm supposed to be going for. 1.045. I don't know what I'm going to get. I think I might be up from if the pre-boil reading was correct. That looks spot on actually, 45. There you go. Well, that was strange. I was a little bit up on pre-boil, but I came back and finished where I was planning to. If the pre-boil reading was correct, the mash efficiency was 85%. I think it said 86%, 85%, which is good. It's very light colour wort. But we'll see how it goes. Excited to taste this one. So that's it. Besides, I over-sparged a tiny little bit, but my pre-boil reading seemed up. I forgot the Wurf lock and the PVPP, which I usually use for clearing. Besides that, everything went fine. This autofocus is still playing up. Got to figure this camera out. What I might do for a change, I'll see if I can be bothered or not, is siphon out of, because I didn't use the PVP and the Wurf lock, I might siphon out of the cube and leave some of the junk behind in the cube when I put it in the fermenter tomorrow. I might just double check this final gravity. There's going to be a bit left in the bottom of the Robobrew. I don't know if you can see down there. I'll pull that out. Try not to disturb it too much. Pull a bit of this wort from the bottom. If I don't lose any of it. The reading could have been a little bit out because it was sitting in that ice water for that, all the way from filling the cube and stuff. So it might have just been a touch cold. And we'll try it again. Oh, there we go. So that's saying 46 now. That could have been a tiny bit of evaporation, but there wouldn't have been much because those hops were sitting on top. That's a bit more expected since I was up on the pre-boil. So that's saying 46 there with a quick, fast reading. So you can lose a couple of points or gain points from not taking your reading sort of immediately. So there you go. Da, 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 da.